piggyback off that, not with an answer, but maybe to flip the question a different way, because as he's talking about participating or visiting a Roman Catholic church for a family member, be it a wedding, a funeral, whatever, this raises the issue for many Christians of should we go to and participate in a same-sex marriage ceremony? I know a lot of people have been faced and will continue to face that issue. So I'll ask the question. See how I did that? And ask you guys, what kind of pastoral wisdom counsel would you give to people here in this room or watching online that have been invited, are currently invited, or one day will be invited to participate in a same-sex marriage that violates their conscience and their convictions biblically? Should they go out of respect? So I'm piggybacking off this, going out of respect for the family. How would it be different? You see where I'm going with this? Maybe raising this
Here's
issue.
what I would say. When we go to a wedding, what we're affirming is not the religion of the people present. What we're affirming is the union of the two people. And so if I'm to go to a Catholic wedding, I'm not going there. That is no way a proclamation or affirmation of Catholicism. What I'm saying is that I support these two people that are coming into union with each other. So I would say there's a difference between a Roman Catholic wedding of a man and a woman versus a wedding between a man and a man. I would say that a Christian should absolutely not go to that, because what we're doing when we go to a wedding is affirming the people and their choice with your presence. And so to be present at a same-sex wedding is to give affirmation to an immoral decision, whereas to go to a Roman Catholic wedding is not.
This came up in a conversation right before lunch with someone we're talking to, and I think I agree with Brandon, but I think there's some nuances to it. My wife and I have also been in that situation, and we declined. But it's important to note, I think, from the conversation that I had today just before lunch, is the question to ask is, leaning towards what Brandon's saying. The question to ask is, what is being communicated to this person if I go? And I think that there may be room for principle of conscience depending on the relationship that you have with the person that's invited you, depending on the context of the particular situation. I don't know how all that would parse out, but the principle of conscience, I think, is, what does this communicate to that person? Does this communicate to that person that I'm accepting this, that I'm endorsing this, that I'm celebrating this, or even that I'm just not opposing this? If it communicates any of those things to that person, then I say your conscience should not let you go. But that's the question to ask. What is this communicating if I make this choice?
I think I agree with all of those. I think, like what you said, a Catholic wedding or funeral, us attending doesn't mean we're suddenly, crossing the Tiber and becoming Catholics. We can attend those and affirm what's, whether there's a funeral or a wedding, we can affirm what's going on, the union of a man and a woman. I wouldn't wear like a Luther is my homeboy shirt or anything. I try to be respectful. But yes, but I think you're right on the same-sex wedding. I think what we would have to do, and I've talked to folks about this. It's it's hard because I think those people, I definitely don't think you should attend, because I think when you attend a wedding, we don't always realize this, but you're a witness. That's embedded in the marriage vows is you are all witnesses to this commitment that we're making to each other. And as believers, we don't think that's a real marriage. At the same time, I do think you should try to figure out a way to have a relationship with that person in your family in other ways that are not affirming their decision. Because I think one of the mistakes that we make, both those of us who believe in biblical marriage and then those who don't, is that people are the sum total of their choices, right? So for them, that's their whole identity. So if you don't go, if you don't affirm their choices, that means you don't affirm them. But that's not true, because they're a whole person made in the image of God. I also think we shouldn't subscribe to that. So every time that person walks in the door, that shouldn't be all we see. They're whole people. So if there's ways that we can have relationships with them outside of this, to have those conversations, you know. But those are hard choices. But I do think we just can't affirm what the Bible doesn't affirm, you know, by our presence.
That's good.